Hey everybody, it's happening. Back out on the water. It is cloudy, windy. Temperatures aren't too bad. Low 50s, I would say right now. But coming off of some really nice warm weather, that's a little chilly. And anyway, got a little bit of time to play in the water. I'm not gonna do anything crazy except streamer fish. So these conditions, the cloudy, a little slightly warmer temperatures, hopefully it'll get these fish a little more willing to move and chase. Unless the mergansers and ducks spook all the fish when I try to get in position here, because there's 3 of them and they're in the pool that I wanted to fish initially. Anyway, thanks for joining. Yeah, let's get to the water and get positioned, and we'll throw some streamers. Got my setup for my streamers here. Got my 10-foot 6-weight Echo Stillwater. Good rod to do this with, and been liking it a lot. And got my line to match, which is a Scientific Angler Amplitude Anadro. An aggressive line, got a pretty stout taper to it. Aggressive taper to help turn over these flies. You know, I'm not running huge streamers. This is a weight forward floating line. The water we're fishing is slow and not very deep, so I don't need a sinking tip or full sinking line or anything like that to be able to get in the zone. Just simply pausing in between strips, throwing them in or something like that will help stall the flies and let them drop. And for the most part, I'm not a real aggressive stripper. So, you know, having a slower, more steady retrieve, you know, mix and match with some sporadic pulsing type strips can induce these fish to strike. So from my fly line down to I'm running 2 streamers, to my first fly to the knot, I'm running about 6 feet. And then I have about 10 inches for my tag. So again, that top streamer is going to be independent, and this is a jig leech. So it's going to be something that I kind of created a year and a half ago or so, and it's been doing pretty well on this river. Maybe I'll do a tying tutorial on that, but I'll show you these at the end of the video. And then 5 feet below that, as the flies hang, so going down my leader to there, in between the flies, I have about 5 feet to my point streamer, which is this olive sculpin-y minnow pattern or bait fish pattern type streamer. Both of these are on size 10. I think I tied these on 230s, if not heavyweight champs, in a size 10, 4mm beads on them. You know, so they both got weight, nothing more than just the bead heads to help get them down. Both of these are zonker style type streamers, so you know that leech or that rabbit strip will aid in a little bit of the sink rate of these streamers here. So all right, the reason why I like to run 2 streamers is basically giving, as your streamers come across fish or past fish, that top streamer, either they'll hit it just immediately, impulsive type strikes, or it'll kind of get their attention, and then they'll see the second streamer behind it, and you know, they're ready for something to come by and ambush or attack or eat, you know. So having the 2 streamer types or having the 2 streamers on the rig basically helps keep your flies in the zone as well, but you know, also giving that second opportunity for the trout to make up their mind if they want to hit the streamer. Also, like I said, keep them in the zone. That top streamer acts as a ballast, or basically my weight, to help keep this point streamer down lower in the water column. So this will ride a little higher and then my point streamer will ride a little bit lower below that. So so that's kind of how you're covering, again, you know, with any of these dropper type systems, you're covering two portions of the water column, you know, again, depending on the aggressiveness of the fish that they go by, you know, they could hit top or bottom. So I am running 2X. There's some big fish in here, and I have had these fish break me off plenty of times on 3X. 2X seems to hold them well. So, all right, we're just gonna get set up and start working this pool here. Okay, so like a lot of instances, I don't get in the water immediately. I don't want to create a lot of commotion. Again, this water is slow moving, a lot of unstable rocks, so these fish will feel your presence way before you're able to even get a fly to them. So I'm gonna stay back a bit, and this is where being a halfway decent caster is going to benefit you, especially with these bigger, heavier type streamers. You got a little bit of disconnect because they're independent in the cast, you know, so one streamer wants to go one way, the other way. But strong strokes, widen it out and pause, give it a little bit of sink time, and then retrieve back. And I'm not ripping it back super fast, but you know, nice 10-12 inch pulls, quick and abrupt, and then you know, a little bit of a pause in between. And then, so whenever running streamers, keep your rod tip down pretty much in the water. My fly line and my rod tip are directly in line with each other. And as your flies drift downstream, I'm moving my rod tip to keep it in line with the fly line. And that is to keep contact with the flies and to feel for any strike. And with all streamer fishing, you want to strip set more than lift the rod on the hook set. A lot of times these trout, you know, they take it in turn, and so they may set on themselves, but if you lift the hook or lift the rod tip, you change the angle of that hook in the fish's mouth, and sometimes that's just enough for the fish to come off. So there's a shelf and it drops away, so I want to let my flies drop down to depth so I'm able to cover the fish that are hanging off of that shelf. And if you strip faster, you're going to bring your flies up higher in the water column, especially with a floating line. It's just going to raise everything up near the surface. And if you strip slower, theoretically your flies will stay down lower in the water column. However, it depends on the speed of current as well. So if the current's moving a little bit faster, you may need to throw mends in there to induce a little bit of slack to allow your flies to sink. It doesn't matter how slow you strip. You may just be pulling against the current, and that current will just force your flies to rise up to the surface there. So just keep that in mind as far as your retrieve and where you think you need to be in the water column. Slower it is, the more you can just be concerned about keeping contact and stripping through, working your water, not worrying about mending or anything like that. Slower and shallower, I should say. Now, if it's shallow and deep, your flies will still come up, so you may need to give it a little bit of pause for it to get back down again. And if it's faster, throwing mends in order to maintain your depth is going to benefit you, or go with a sinking line, sink tip fly line. But you just got to remember that within those, or after you throw those mends, you just got to be ready in case something takes your streamers on the drop. I've had that happen quite a bit. All right, finish this one. I'm going to move down a few steps. So you cover water fairly quickly in this scenario, or with this technique, because most of the time these fish are going to be fairly aggressive if they're going to eat these streamers. So I tend to cover water a little faster. Okay, you just got to watch all the vegetation and stuff behind you. Again, I'm not trying to get in the water all that deep or all that far out to create a lot of disturbance and to raise alarm to these fish. Now, the other thing is, as I work this water and observe, There are blue-winged olives out and about, so my streamer, although this is a little bit earlier in the day, so there's a fish. All right, well, I was kind of questioning my choice of technique, but this fish answered that. So if you notice, I was stripping, kind of watching and observing, but I was keeping contact, obviously, because I was stripping, and this fish ate, and I had no choice but just to keep stripping because I was kind of preoccupied by talking about other stuff. That this fish, it seems to be hooked fairly well. Oh, get my GoPro. It's a nice fish. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think throwing streamers was a good choice today. Oh man, this is such a good fish, and this is why throwing streamers can definitely be a benefit to you. Okay, woo! This is a beautiful fish. He's got some really cool coloration to him, but yeah, how cool is that? Isn't that awesome? Kind of looks like one of those big New Zealand fish, and look at those pecks on him. Big old pectoral fins. All right, thanks fish. Let's get you back in the water. Thank you. Thank you. Woo! Awesome, awesome. Let's see if we can find a couple more like that. I feel like a trout hunter NZ. Okay, one thing that I didn't really talk to you about, but when I first got in, I worked that far side initially because it was a good angle, and this shelf kind of drew out down here close to me on this side, that far side, and there's a big rock in the middle, so I was kind of working that quadrant over there. But as I move down, this bank drops away a little more steeply, so I work the inside closer to my side of the river, and I'm going to work my way across to the other side, just kind of like how I normally would, even if I was nymphing or anything like that. So that fish hit actually probably where the drop off is, about 3-4 feet out, and it's still kind of shallow there. It's only maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep, so not real deep, but he stayed fighting more on this side, and so that's going to leave more of the other side of the river undisturbed. So hopefully there'll be some other fish hanging out on that side, so let's get after it. So I was able to move down a little bit after fighting that fish and cover, let's see if we can cover some new water here. And yeah, that fish was hooked good. Got him right in the scissors, as they say. And then as I get into shallower water, I can speed it up. Again, I'm trying to prevent my streamers from getting stuck on the bottom. So as I speed it up, it raises it and it follows the contour of that shallower water, so I don't hang up as easily. Oh, I saw that happen just as I was changing my angle. Time out. All right, that was relatively painless. Now, a lot going on with the casting here. Keeping my casting profile out towards the middle of the river, so as I bring my rod back, it's paralleling the brush behind me so it doesn't get caught in the brush, and it's delivered straight downstream. And then when I come back on my final casting stroke here, I'm basically making a big loop or oval, and I exaggerate it, and I can change my angle a little bit more to get a little more across. So that's how I'm able to deal with this brush behind me. Either that or come up high, which is what I attempted to do on the last one when I got hung in the tree there. But with wind, longer line, that can be a little bit more challenging. And then come up and over, change your angle, and that'll allow me to get across. Now, as you work down, you know, you're getting even with some of the water you'd already fished, but one thing that I do on occasion is I'll just cast back up through that area there and then work my streamers at a different angle, changing your presentation, ultimately changing the appearance and perhaps appeal of your streamers. So I got it here, locked in my rod hand, fly line in my left, strip from below. So if you do hook up and you set, you're gonna set like that, but you got it locked in here as well. Now I just hit bottom, hit rocks, so hopefully I can get that back. One. Yeah. So I was bringing that up on the hang. Good brown. Kind of jigging it back to the surface, fishing it all the way back to me. And it hit when I popped it up, paused. Just like you would Euro nymph style. Oh crap, there's a bunch of willow and alder branches in here too, so. Come here. All right, nice. Good brown. Yeah. Thank you, fish. There's one. Oh, shoot. Dang it. That was a good hit, too. There's one. Yeah. Look at that, folks. Oh, lost it. Dang it. Oh, man. That's two that I lost. All right. This is going to be it. Last few casts here. And I gotta head out, call it a day. Not too bad. Hopefully I get another one maybe before we end it, but as always, thanks for watching. We had 4 hookups, 2 landed, 2 that we had on for a brief time, and all in streamers, and streamers definitely aren't a numbers game most days, most situations, but can provide some pretty solid fish. All right, well, this is the streamer that did all the heavy lifting today. Zonker style, rabbit strip, olive, some flash, size 10 short shank hook, 4mm bead. That's it. I had 2 other streamers on my dropper, but they didn't turn or have any action on them. They were just helping keep this fly in the zone through the entire time. All in all, very much worth it, especially that first fish early on in the day in the first pool. Big old male humpback brown trout. And then that second one landed was pretty solid, thick fish, and didn't get a chance to really see the third one, but that fourth one was pretty nice too, probably upper teens fish. Wish we could have gotten a better look at it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe and like button. Thank you all to my Patreon subscribers and to my producer Patreon and VIP patrons. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, all right, take care, guys. See you in the next video. Keep fishing. You ready, Povey? You ready?